Google has recently launched a new variant of a structured output in the Gemini API, and they are calling it Enum mode. Now, this will help us to easily constrain the model to pick between predefined options. So let's see how we can use this Enum mode and where it's going to be useful. So let's go over to our use case. So in this use case, we are going to pass certain text to Gemini models, and we would ask the model to detect the emotions in this text. So in this case, the model is going to give us a structured output, but from the emotion perspective, we are not defining any constraints. So it can come up with any kind of emotions, whatever it feels. But with the Enum support, we can also define the certain emotions, and then model will try to tag all this text to those certain emotions. If we have defined our emotions in Enum mode like angry and sad, then it will just try to tag this particular text to either angry or sad emotion. That's where Enum mode is going to be useful. So in certain use case where we have to categorize our input to certain predefined options, there we can define our options as Enum. Then model will try to tag the given input along the given options only. So before going to the code, we have to do certain things. So first thing is going to be where we have to get our key. So we can just come to this Google AI Studio, and here we can click on get API key, and this is going to give us a key over here, and this key then we can utilize it to call Gemini models. Second thing what we have to do is install this particular package. So this package would help us to call Gemini models, and using pip install command we can install this package. Now let's go over the code. First of all, I have defined a text file. So in this input file, so we have put 5 lines over here, and this all 5 lines belong to different emotions. One particular line could belong to angry emotion, one particular line could belong to happy emotions. So first of all, we are going to run our code only with the structured output, and we'll try to see, okay, what output are we getting, and then later on actually we will try to define our emotions as enum, and then we will try to invoke our method again. Then we will get the output, and then we can compare the output actually what we are getting without enum and what we are getting with enum. First thing actually what we need to do is import this Google generative AI package, and this we have already covered, like how we can install it. After that, you can see like I have defined something called util, and this particular method would just help us to read the lines in this emotions.txt file. So here you can see I'm just opening the file in the read mode, and then I'm just capturing all the lines whatever we have in the file using this read lines method, and I'm just returning those lines. And that particular method we are importing from util over here. This type dict is required to define our structured output. That's what we are using over here. And then in the environment file we have defined our key, and this key we have got from Google AI Studio. This is our Gemini API key. This is what we are defining in environment file, and then we are just loading this environment variables using this particular package, and then we are configuring this API key using this particular line. Now our API key has been set. To define our structured output, we have defined one class which is a response, and then we are using a type dict which we have defined over here, and under this we are just putting two things. One is going to be the text what we are going to get from file, and another is going to be emotion. So both is going to be in the string format. It's a very simple class that we have defined over here. After that, we have to initialize our model, and here we are going with the Gemini 1.5 flash model. We also have option to go for pro, and we also have option to go with the pro latest model. So you can choose whatever model you want, and then actually we are just reading all the lines what we have in the file, and then we are iterating over all this line because there are 5 lines in the file, and for each line we have to detect the emotion. So we have to loop over the lines what we are getting over here, and for each line we are going to pass this particular section of the code. Here we have defined our model, so we are just calling this particular method generate content. Under this generate content, then we are just asking, okay, detect the emotion in this text, and the line we are going to get from here. And after that, because we have defined our structured output over here, so we have to pass it to our model, and to pass that Gemini provide this generation config, and under this we can pass our genai.generation config. Under this we can just define the response type application/JSON because we want the output in the JSON format, and then the response schema. Under this response schema we can just pass our class which we have defined over here, and we are just passing as a list. If you don't put a list over here, also you are going to get that response, but it's not going to be in the list format. And then just to capture the output, we are using this result.text. If you don't use the text, if you just print it out the result, then you are going to get everything. Here you will be having the result, you will be having the number of tokens and all additional details. But if you just want to focus on the output, then you can navigate to text piece of result, and then you would be able to get the required output. So now let me go ahead and just try to run this code, and we are going to just execute it. and in this case you can see I have removed the list, so the output is going to come like this, where it is still in the JSON format. You can see the emotion is over here, and for the first line it's saying frustration, for the second it's saying sadness, third joy, fourth sadness, and fifth neutral. Because we haven't defined like any emotion category, so it is coming up with its own category of emotions and just it's putting that accordingly. Now just let me put a list over here and I can show you the difference what we are going to get. Now if I go ahead and execute it, we are going to get the same responses, but now you can see like it's coming in the list format. So it's up to you whether you want to use the list or you just want to get a response just like this. We can put a constraint on the model to use those particular category rather than coming up with its own category of emotions. So to do that, we are just going to make one change over here, and this is going to be the Enum mode, which we are going to enable like this. So we still have to define our class, and this class should be of Enum, and under this we can define our categories like this. So here we are talking about emotion, so I have just given the name of this class as emotion, and under this like we are just defining our category of emotion. So here we do have angry, sad, happy, VP, and neutral, and because we have to define in the Enum formats, we have to put a variable over here. So this angry is going to point it to angry, sad is going to point to sad, and the rest of the emotions accordingly. So whatever we have been using in our last code, same thing we are using over here. It's just that we have enabled this Enum mode because there actually we were using Flash model. So here also I will just update it to Flash, and I will just go ahead and run this code now. Earlier we were getting an output where it was saying like frustration, sadness, and all those things, but here if you see, the output is coming based on the predefined emotions category. The first text is where actually we are getting a frustration. Now we are getting angry emotion. For the second one where we are saying I feel really down today, we are getting sad instead of sadness, because sad is one of the Enum category that we have defined over here. And then we have the rest of the emotions over here, happy, sad, and neutral. So that's where this Enum could be very useful. It will help us to predefine our options, and then model has to strictly follow that. And this is not just going to work on text, because all this Gemini model, whatever we have been using, 1.5 Flash Pro or Pro latest, all these models are multimodal model. So Enum is going to work with images also. So to provide a demo for that, we have put two images over here. I have just categorized at emotions. One is going to be angry and one is going to be sad. And to read these images, we will go to our util again, and actually we are using this particular code to retrieve the images what we have in the image folder. When we are passing the images to the model, we have to pass it with the path. So what we are doing over here, we are defining a path, and then we have defined a list over here. This is going to be our folder directory, and from here our images are located. So first of all, we are going to take the images from this particular folder. Then we are defining an image path because there are two images and we want to capture the path for these two images. We are just going to iterate over this folder, and then we are going to get a full path like this, where folder directory is going to be image and then the image name whatever we are going to get, and then this full path we are just appending it in our list in the string format. So once we get the image path, then actually we are just using this particular method to get image path. And because now we are dealing with images, so first of all we have to load these images to our model, and for this particular Gemini package provide that capability. So we can just pass it like this. Here we just have to use this upload file method. This upload file method would help us to upload our images to the model, because we are having two images. So we are navigating to the images and then we are just uploading our images like this. Now we are saying like detect the emotion in this particular image, and then actually we are defining our response schema in the list format. You know, different models can interpret the image differently. We can just pick and choose our model, like if you are not getting a correct output. So just let me try that. Our focus is going to see like whether the emotion category for images also is going to be picked up from this. But yeah, we will just go ahead and try to run this code now. Here I have just print the images over here. So we are going to get the emotion1.png and emotion2.png, and you can see like it has identified the emotions for images also, but we know like this is not right. What we can point it out, at least Enum category is also functional in the images, because the emotion is still getting picked up for this particular enum that we have defined over here. So still it's picking happy, but we know like this particular model has interpreted these images incorrectly. This is an angry picture, but here it's saying like it's coming as happy, and same for this. But our focus was on the enum mode over here, and we know like it's picking up the options from here. That's how actually you can enable the enum with the structured output in Gemini and use it to predefine your options and get the output accordingly. That's what we have in this video. Thank you for watching.